Hello together, be welcome to our technical session at SharePoint 7 today. My name is Gilles Tanko. I'm a Microsoft certified trainer with focus on Microsoft product. But today I would like to demonstrate a migration concept to migrate data between Firebase and SharePoint using the FireBaseSharp and SharePoint CSOM, that means based on C# code. How to do that? I hope you have experience with Firebase and also with SharePoint. Okay, now here see, when I open my Firebase, the console application, and open here the real-time database, I have created here one database. The name is Clandle Carpooling. And in this database, we have three structures. The one is counter, image, and information. On the information, I have here a list of data. Yes, that is like a database, a non-SQL database. And now the next step I want to do in this training is to create a new node behind this to manage a list of persons. I would take a simple structure, and on the other side we have here SharePoint. Yes, I have an Office 365 tenant account, and in this Office 365 I have the SharePoint Online. In the SharePoint Online I have here a SharePoint site. It's called Best Dev. Yes, inside of this SharePoint I want to open here the site contents. Inside of the SharePoint site content, I want to create a new list. As we will create, I can create here a new list, and we will then copy the data from Firebase into this SharePoint list. That is our task of today. Okay, and now to be able to create a project, I need first to create a Visual Studio project. And in the Visual Studio project, I would then add specific libraries that will allow me to connect to Firebase. For Firebase, there are two nugget packages. The one is FireSharp and the other is FireSharp serialization. We have to add these two products to our these two packages to our SharePoint project. So I need to open the Visual Studio and create a new project. And my new project here, I will select here a Windows Form application. Yes, a Windows Form application, and the name of the project is migration from Firebase to SharePoint. And the project is in the repository, and here I have an empty form. So if I run this project here on the top, you will see the empty form that will be displayed soon. And this is the form, it is empty. Now the first step I want to do is to select my project and add nugget packages here, and on this I have to go to browse and type here FireSharp. If I enter here FireSharp, then I have the possibility to install first the FireSharp. If I install this, and then I will also install the second one, FireSharp serialization. And after I install these two packages, yes, I have to select here OK and accept the installation. And the next module is here FireSharp serialization. When I install it, then it will, so I create. Okay, now here I have to validate, and so my project is ready. Now when I expand the reference of my project, you will see here the FireSharp and the FireSharp serialization. And now I can open my project solution here, and I open my code, and inside of the code I will create here the library. It means I need a piece of code here on the top, have my data where I then, but here first I need to change the library here. I need to insert, and you connect here FireSharp as library. Okay, and now I need to set here the right secret. Yes, the secret here. For that I have to open Firebase and select my project, and then I need the URL of this code here. And select here to copy this code. Yes, if I copy it, then I have to open my project again and use here on the bar path and put here the URL to my Firebase project, and then I need a secret to access this project. Then I have to open again the Firebase and open here the project settings. On the project settings, I need to open here service account, and on the service account, then I need to select here database secret, and on the database secret I can click here to show the code, and then I can copy this code, and this code will be then reused here on the secret part. Based on this configuration, I will then be able to connect to my database. Here, this configuration will be neat. Make sure that it works. I would like to open my form here and to go on the form load. When the form will load, then I would like to check to test if my connection works. So for the connection, here I would like to create a client, and I would like to create here. Okay, I create here a client, but for that I need also to set a reference here on the top. Firebase client. This will be my client that I will use to connect to the database. Here the client is Firebase client, and I'll use the configuration that we set here on the top. And then if the client exists, then I would like to show here connection to Firebase. Connection to Firebase DB is established. Yes. Now let us run this code and see how it will behave. Now my application has tried to connect to the Firebase, and the connection is successful. That's why I get this message now. Okay, first step done. Now the next step, okay, that means we have now created a connection to the database. We have set this configuration so that we can access the database, and here we don't need the password because we have the secret and the path. We have the client object that we will use to access the database. And the second step now, I would like to create a simple form with some fields here inside, and the field will be the ID, the last name, and the first name. And I will also create then a class of persons that will consume these identifications. And on the other part, I will create a method to then generate an item of persons, and then save this item inside of our database, and then you will see this persons node will then appear. Okay, to do that, I will then here open my form, and on the toolbox I will then select here a label to add a label. For the first label, we'll call here, I'll call it, the text is ID, and I will add also here a text box, this text box here will also have the name. I will call it text box name is here txt. I will call it text ID. Now I will also create another text box. The second one will have the name first name, and the third one will have the name last name. Okay, now I will call this one text box last name, and the other one is text box first name. And then I would like to add also some labels. The first one here is the text first name, and I will add the second one, and the second one will have the label last name. Okay, now when we enter data in these three fields, I would like to use a button. Based on this button, I would like to add these data inside of Firebase. That means this button, the text here is insert, and the name of the button is here button insert in Firebase. Insert in Firebase DB. Yes, and the name also I will, to make the difference, insert in Firebase DB. In Firebase DB. Okay. Now when I select this text box, then we are here inside. Okay, here when I'm in the code, I would like to create a mechanism to copy the data from this field and to save them in the database. For that, I will create first an object here, a new object, a new class, and this class I will call it person. This is a class of persons. Call it person, and this class will have some attributes, and I will create the following three attributes: ID, last name, and first name. So simple as that. Now I have to save it and open my form. When I select on insert once more, I will then create a variable here of person. I will call it person1 equal to new persons, and here I will define the ID of this person. Here the attribute ID is equal to the text box ID, the text, and the next variable is last name is equal to text box last name, the text, and the last one is the first name. The first name. What is the problem? I think in my class persons I have last name, I have here the first name. So in this class I want to add here the first name, and the first name should have the value is the first name. Now I understand the problem. My issue is with the semicolon here. I have to set a comma. Now I then can close. Here with this method, I have created an object of type person. Based on this, now that I have created this object of type person, now I will then create a connection to the database. For that, I will then write set response call it response is. Now here's a problem with the variable set response in the class Firebase response. Response is equal to await. Okay, and I will call the object client and set a task. I would like to set a task. Something is missing here. I would like to set an task asynchron. Wait, something is missing. I need first to add here in the method. I would like this method to be asynchron. Okay, but that's not my issue. I want to set a task asynchron. I don't know why is it missing. Let me check. Here I will use set asynchron. In the previous version of this library, I used set task asynchron, but the library seems to have changed in only a few days. Now I will here add the persons, the node where I would like to manage the object, and then I will then here say add. I will take person.id, the ID of the person that I have created here, and then the object itself, person1. With this method, it should then save this object to Firebase. Now, if I say here person, the object person, here I want to get the result of this method, response dot result as, and I will convert the result from type person. I want to make sure that the result I get is of type person, and if that works, then I can write a message box, and in my REST message box I will show here that I can say here that a new person is added to DB, and I can give here the result .id. Okay, then let us test it now. I hope it works fine. When I run the application, yes, now we are connected to the database, and now I want to add a new ID here. The first ID, the name I will say here Gel, and the last name I will say here Tanko. Now let us first check in our Firebase database here how is this the Firebase. Actually, we don't have a node here called person. Now when I hit here on insert, then a new person is added to the database. When I hit on OK and check my structure again, you see that this node person is added. I can put it on the side to show you how it behaves, so that we can have a better look that it will run in parallel. And now I have person 1, The ID is 1. First name is Gilles and last name is Tanko. And then I can add here another one we'll call Paul. First name is Meyer. If I say the ID would be now 2. If I save in the database, then he creates automatically a new item exactly the same way. And I can create a third item and call the name here migrate. Thompson. Migrate Meyer. And if I save it, then the third ID is created. And now we can create items based on FireSharp in the database. And our database here is Firebase. This is the first part of our training. Now we want to migrate all these data here into a SharePoint site. This will be the second part of this training.